All right, guys. This set of notes is entitled Settling the American West. And we're looking at what were the motivations, what were the opportunities that the West presented to people, to groups of people, that encouraged them to want to move westward. And what conflicts and challenges emerged as we see a large number of people moving west. It's important to understand that when we're talking about the West in the mid to late 1800s, we really mean anything west of the Mississippi River. So yeah, that includes places like California and Oregon, but it also includes places like Nebraska, Colorado, Utah. All right, so we see that people are going to begin moving westward even before the Civil War. All right, we're going to see many settlers begin moving westward in search of opportunity. And that's really going to be the big theme as to why people are going to be motivated west. There are going to be certain opportunities for people in the West that they might not have further east. And the first big thing that's going to encourage a large number of settlers to move westward is gold, all right, making it rich on gold. First big group of settlers who moved westward were miners who rushed to California in the 1840s when gold was found there in 1848. So we have tens of thousands of individuals moving to California in 1849. So they're the 49ers in search of making it rich. And that wave of migration will continue. So between 1850 and 1860, California's population is going to explode. It will more than triple in those 10 years. And that wave of migration westward is going to continue after the Civil War. Between 1865 and 1900, most of the rest of the West is settled. All right, settlers, pioneers are moving westward, and they're organizing themselves in these areas. And we're going to see most of the places, the states that we know between the Mississippi River and the Pacific Ocean are going to be organized and turned into states during this time period. It's not just opportunity, although that's going to be part of it. People were really encouraged by the government to move westward. The federal government really wanted to get people moving westward. They wanted to settle this land west of the Mississippi and make use of it. And the government did a lot of things to encourage people to do that. First, a big one that they did, or one of the big ones that they did, was the Homestead Act. And the Homestead Act basically gave settlers free land. They said if you pay a small fee, I think it was like $80 or something like that, and you move westward and work land for 5 years, we will give you 160 acres for free. And that's a big plot of land. There are very few 160-acre plots of land in places like Massachusetts or New York. Most of that land has already been taken over. So if you are somebody who doesn't own any land and you're looking for a real opportunity to be a landowner and make your living off the land, the Homestead Act is really enticing. Federal government also is going to give free land to railroad companies, and in order to encourage them to build the railroads. They know that the railroads will help bind together the country east and west, but these railroads are also going to help settlers as they move further west. As settlers farm and produce crops that they want to sell in markets, they have to transport them to those markets somehow, and the best way to do that is through the railroads. And the federal government is also enacting policies designed to drive American Indians off of their land and drive them onto reservations. We're going to see this happens throughout the West, and it happens over a long period of time, but one Western Native American tribe after another is eventually forced onto these reservations, opening up that land for white settlers particularly, but also settlers of other ethnicities as well to move westward. Another thing that's making people consider moving west and kind of seek that opportunity is technology made moving westward easier, and it helped make farms more profitable and productive. Specifically with the rise of industry and machinery, we're going to see work becomes easier. Farms become more productive. For example, because of new machines, it would take a farmer 3 hours to harvest an acre of wheat, whereas before it would take 61 hours to do it by hand. Because of the mechanical reaper doing all the hard labor for you, you could work that land much more efficiently, and then you can work more land, right? Turn out more crops, which you can sell for more. Your farm becomes more profitable. And we're also going to be, or these farmers are going to be producing more to, again, seek more of that profit. So we're going to see wheat production in the United States is going to skyrocket also. It rises from 250 million bushels to 680 million between 1870 and 1900. So over a 30-year period, the amount of wheat being produced in the whole United States is going to triple. And this is true of wheat, but it's true of other crops as well. And what's going to happen over this time period is the United States is going to become a massive producer of food goods. All right. Farm products were 75% of the United States total exports during this time period. So most of what the United States is shipping abroad, what they have a lot of, what they have to sell in global markets are crops, things that they are growing on their farms like wheat and corn. All right, they're now producing enough food to not just support the people living there, but enough to sell abroad. So even though we have all of this opportunity and there's a real chance to make it in the West, that doesn't mean it's all positive. You guys know by now that settling in the West had some really serious negative results, particularly if you are an American Indian. Indians lost most of their hunting ground, if not all of it. They lost their food source. Many of them will lose their culture, their family, and their way of life as they are driven off of their land. Building the railroads and developing the farms was hard work. There was no guarantee of success. Many people will become hurt or injured or die or lose everything in their efforts to seek this opportunity in the West. There's also going to be a lot of conflict in the West. Lots of groups are going to have conflict with each other. Settlers moving out to this land and Indians will have conflict over the land. Farmers and ranchers and cowboys are going to have conflict as cowboys try and move herds of cattle through farmers' lands, potentially destroying their crops. Farmers and railroads are going to have disputes over land. So the West is going to be an area of major conflict. And as I mentioned, many people are going to die or go broke as a result of westward expansion. And even though the West opens up opportunity for a lot of African Americans for former slaves, African Americans often still continue to face racism in the West.